Please be seated. Please remove all hats and silence all cell phones. We'll call the court to order at this time. My name is Matt Rothy. I'm the municipal judge for Stoughton Municipal Court that covers the cities of Stoughton, towns of Dunkirk, Pleasant Springs, and Rutland. I'd like to go through some of the procedures we follow in the courtroom. Procedures should have been available to you in the pamphlet on the podium as you entered the courtroom. We take pleas tonight. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. If you enter a no contest or guilty plea, I'll review the police report, and if there's a factual basis, I'll find you guilty. A plea of no contest is similar to a guilty plea, but a conviction arising from a no contest plea cannot be used against you in a subsequent hearing. Let me explain that. Say if you're involved in a traffic accident, you receive a citation. If you enter a no contest plea, what that means is that the person, if they sue you for damages later, can't use that no contest plea against you. The forfeiture ranges in these cases range from $20 to $1,000. However, almost all are within the $50 to $100 range. The state mandates we add costs to your forfeiture. For example, a $100 forfeiture will result in a total fine to you of $187. I will grant you 30 days to pay the fine. If you need more time, please let me know. I have limited options to collect. I can suspend your driver's license for a year. I can send your account to state collections. I'd rather not do that. If you just need more time than the 30 days, just let me know and I'll be happy to set up a payment plan with you. If you enter a not guilty plea, I'll order that your case be set over to a pretrial conference with the city attorney. That date will be February 3rd, 2019, and with both you and the city attorney. What did I say? Oh, I'm sorry, April 3rd, yeah, it couldn't be February 3rd, it'd be April 3rd. That's when both you and the city attorney will meet to see if you can resolve your citation short of a trial. Those of you here facing traffic offenses should understand that you lose demerit points upon conviction of most traffic offenses. If you lose 12 or more points within a year, your license will be suspended for a certain period of time. You'll also be fined. I'd like you to be aware of some of your rights before entering a plea. You have a right to ask for a continuance. This means that your case can be set over for another time, either to consult with a lawyer or for some other reason. This is a civil court. You're not entitled to a public defender because this is not a criminal court, but you may hire an attorney at your own cost. You also have a right to a trial. Please remember your rights when considering your plea. Do you have any other guys? Yes. Okay. Those of you charged with operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of an intoxicant are entitled to request a jury trial in the circuit court upon proper payment of the proper fees. All other cases will be handled in this court with the right to appeal my ruling to the circuit court. We take people on a first-come, first-served basis. First case I have tonight is Scott's Jerry. Mr. Jerry, do I have your correct, did I say that right?
Gary. Yeah.
Gary, thank you. Do I have your correct address on Elkhorn Court in Deerfield?
Acorn, yep.
Yeah, Acorn, I'm sorry. Make a note of that. Okay. You have two citations. First one is operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of an intoxicant. I usually abbreviate that by saying an OWI. The second citation is for a prohibited alcohol concentration. Now, the penalties for an OWI are as follows. The face amount of the citation is $861. The forfeiture range on this is $150 to $300, but yeah, the state adds an assessment cost of around $355 and other fees like they do with all tickets. So it pops it up from $150 to $300 to usually around a forfeiture between $700 and $950. If you're found guilty of this, 6 points will be assessed against your license. If you're found guilty, you also be required to attend alcohol and drug assessment. And then the driver's license, if you're found guilty, will be a 6 to 9 month driver's license revocation. Now, the 6 to 9 month, I base that upon your alcohol level and your driving behavior. If you're below 1.5, I treat it as 6 months. 1.5 to 2, it's 7, and above a 0.2, it's 8. If there's bad driving with that, I add a month to that, is how I arrive at my totals. If your blood alcohol content was a 1.5 or higher, the state mandates that I order an interlock ignition device be installed in all vehicles registered in your name for a period of 12 months. Do you understand whether I abbreviate that as an IID? You understand what an IID is?
So is that just any vehicle I drive or just my personal vehicles?
Just whatever registered in your name.
So like, for example, I have a work van, so if I, would I have
You
to have it in?
would, you would have to
zoning?
have it required for a period of 12 months then,
Okay.
so. And then if you have a commercial driver's license, okay. So the, okay. 861, 6 points, AODA, 6 points, 15 IID. If you're, the IID period would last for a period of 12 months. In addition to the IID, it would be a $50 surcharge as well for that IID. Is this blood? Okay. Now, that was the OWI. Do you understand what operating motor vehicle while under the influence of intoxicant is?
Yes.
Okay, you understand all the penalties that as I set them forth? Okay, you also received the second citation, and that's operating motor vehicle with a prohibited alcohol concentration. Now, that citation also carries the same penalties. The 861, the 6 points, AODA, 6 to 9 month driver's license revocation, and the IID requirements if you're a 1.5, $50 surcharge. Now, even though the forfeitures are the same, I can find you guilty of both, but I can only impose penalties on one set.
Okay.
So the maximum you would be facing would be 861, 6 to 9 months, et cetera. It's not like it gets doubled.
Okay.
Do you understand that as well?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions regarding the elements of operating a prohibited alcohol concentration?
I guess I was just wondering if I pleaded guilty to one or the other, if I had a chance to get out of that IED in a vehicle, or that?
If you had a question regarding the IID, which what I would suggest is that you enter a not guilty plea.
Okay.
See, because I don't know anything about, I don't know what your blood alcohol content or anything, but if you drive a vehicle at work and you're wondering about that IID, the best thing to do would be enter a not guilty plea, have an opportunity to discuss this with the prosecutor then.
Okay.
Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When a not guilty plea, I'll order that you attend the pretrial conference on April 3rd, and I'll give you notice for just that, in just a minute. Now, for the OWI, or for the pretrial conference, I'm ordering that you attend, and if you don't attend, the prosecutor tell me that you didn't attend, I'll find you default and I'll find you guilty and impose those penalties.
Okay.
I always advise people to go take a look at the room before they leave. It's down, when you enter the building, be downstairs from here, go through the second set of door, there'll be a conference room, and if you see it right now, there'll be a sign that says pretrial conferences.
Okay.
Now, that's your chance to tell your side of the story, so bring whatever witnesses or documents might help your case as well.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
I don't think so.
The bailiff will give you the notice in just a minute. Once you get that, that will take care of it for this evening then.
Okay, thank
Thank you. Colin Boozer? Boozer, Busser?
You, sir?
Buser. Do I have your correct, Mr. Buser, do I have your correct address on Page Street, Stoughton? All right. You received a citation for speeding 20 to 24 over. That citation carries a penalty of $149.20 and 6 demerit points issued in your driver's license. Do you understand what speeding on a city highway is?
Yep.
20, 24? Okay. Now, I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway on this. If you enter a not guilty plea and go meet with the prosecutor, they would give you the same offer. So to shorten things, I can make the same offer from the bench. So instead of 20 to 24 over, the 10 miles would be 11 to 19 over. That would result in 4 demerit points instead of 6.
Okay.
Same forfeiture, $149.20 with 30 days to pay. You understand that?
Yep.
Any questions for me regarding the speeding citation?
Nope.
Now's the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty to the amended violation of speeding 11 to 19 over.
No contest.
Okay, with a no contest plea, if I find a factual basis police report, you realize I will find you guilty?
Yep.
All right, let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis, accept your no contest plea, and find you guilty of 11 to 19 over, 4 points, and forfeiture of $149.30. Do you need time to pay?
30 days.
Yeah, I'll give you 30 days. I will give you a notice. You can take that and then mail in payment. Make sure that you pay within 30 days because if you need additional time, just let us know. Otherwise, I'd rather have you just pay it rather than suspend your driver's
Yeah.
license and so forth. Okay. Once you receive the notice, I will take care of it this evening then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kavanaugh Christopher Steffes. Did I say that name correctly?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Steffes, do I have your correct address on Paulson Road, McFarland?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You received a citation for violate GDL restrictions as a passenger, first offense. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 3 demerit points issued to your driver's license. Do you understand what violate GDL restrictions as a passenger is?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You don't need me to review the ordinance with you then? Okay. He's shaking his head no, so take that as a negative. So 343.43, the forfeiture range on this is $0 to $200. You're at $50 plus cost. You're not at the minimum, but you're at the lower end of the forfeiture range as well. You understand that as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions for me regarding this citation?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Now's the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Not guilty, Your
Okay.
Honor.
With a not guilty plea, we'll schedule this matter for a pretrial conference, and I'll give you the notice in just a minute.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That'll be scheduled for April 3rd. Chance to tell your side of the story, so bring whatever witnesses or documents might help your case. Make sure that you appear. I'm ordering that you appear, and if you don't appear, what will happen is the prosecutor will tell me you didn't appear. I'll find you default, and I'll find you guilty and impose those penalties then. So make sure that you appear, and then I always advise people, go take a look at the room before you leave. It's downstairs. I know you probably heard this before, but I always want to make sure I advise all the defendants of that. Downstairs, through the second set of doors, there will be a conference room on your left, and it will be marked pretrial conference then.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, any questions for me?
No, Your
Once
Honor.
you receive the notice, I'll take care of it this evening then. Thank you. Stephanie Steele. Ms. Steele, do I have your correct address on Thompson Drive in Madison?
No.
Do you want to give me your correct address?
It's 712 Elm Street, Apartment 1, Wisconsin, Dells, Wisconsin.
Do you have a zip code for that?
Yep, sorry, 53965.
I know most of the zip codes in the area, but I don't know that one. Let
Yeah.
me repeat it. 712 Elm Street, Apartment 1, Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin, 53965.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, you've been cited for theft, movable property less than $2,500. That citation carries a penalty of $187. Forfeiture range on this is $50 to $1,000. You're at $100 plus cost. So you're not at the minimum, but you're on the lower end as well. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you understand the elements of theft? What the city would have to prove if this were to go to trial? If not, I can read those elements to you.
If you could, please.
Yeah, certainly.
Thank you.
It's ordinance 50-4. Stoughton has a series of laws they publish called ordinances. And 50-4 basically says that they have adopted state statute 943-20, sub 1, so A. And I will read that to you. Let me find it first. All right, 943-20, sub 1, sub A. That's titled Theft. 1. Acts. Whoever does any of the following may be penalized, as provided in our ordinances, basically $50, $1,000. Sub A says, intentionally takes and carries away, uses, transfers, conceals, or retains possession of movable property of another without the other's consent and with intent to deprive the owner permanently of possession of such property.
Okay.
Does that make it more clear?
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you.
In addition to the forfeiture of $187, I can also order that you pay restitution. Do you understand what restitution is?
Yes.
Okay. So in other words, that if whoever was deprived of that property, I can order that you pay the value of the property back. And it's up to, I believe, $4,000. There's a 10. It's up to $10,000 limit. It's a small claims limit. So the value of the property not that I will forfeit you, but it has to be, say if I went to a convenience store and I stole a pack of cigarettes, they could make me pay back the value of the pack of cigarettes, $5 or $10 for that. So can't be any more than that. You look like you have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. So was it saying that the value of the property was 10?
I don't know. No,
Oh,
that's
okay.
just the limit on what I can
Oh,
order
I
then.
see.
So I have no idea what the level of the property is. When I look at these, I just get your name and address and that's it. And
Okay.
so I don't know anything else about the case then, so.
Okay.
Does that make it clear?
Yes.
All
thank
right.
you.
I told you about restitution, I've told you about theft and the forfeiture, and then I've gotten your address. Any questions for me?
I don't know if this is way too early to ask about this, but
And normally I just take the pleas. Don't
Okay.
tell me about any circumstances of the case
no,
or anything like
it was
that. So-
just it was about possible getting something like this expunged from.
Okay,
My record.
this is a departmental record. As far as this, it won't appear on CCAB, but you are 17 or over, correct?
Yes.
So you're considered an adult. As far as expungements, the state law states you can't expunge ordinances.
Okay.
Certain misdemeanors can get expunged then, so. But if you're worried about your record or anything like that, what I would suggest is that you enter a not guilty plea to have the opportunity to discuss this with the prosecutor, because I can't, other than the speeding cases that I've prearranged with the prosecutor, I can't really amend from the bench unless I see something wrong with the citation then.
Okay.
Okay, is that what you want to do? Enter a not guilty
Yes,
plea?
please.
Okay, I'll go ahead and enter a not guilty plea. We'll schedule this matter for, we'll schedule this matter for pretrial conference and I'll order that you attend it. Make sure that you attend on April 3rd, we'll give you that notice in just a minute. Because if you don't appear, the prosecutor would tell me that you didn't show up. I'll find you default and I'll find you guilty. And I'll impose that forfeiture and possibly order restitution if it's warranted then.
Okay.
So, and with that, make sure that it's a chance to tell your side of the story, so bring whatever witnesses or documents might help your case. And then I always advise people to go take a look at the room before they leave. Downstairs, through the second set of door, conference room on your left.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
No.
The bailiff will give you that notice and they'll take care of it this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brenda, is it Lean? Miss Lean, do I have your correct address on Cleto Street in Oregon?
Yes.
All right. Received 2 citations. One is for speeding on a city highway, 11 to 15 miles an hour over the limit. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and 4 demerit points issued your driver's license. Do you understand what speeding on a city highway is?
I do.
Okay. Again, I give a 10-mile leeway for these speeding citations. So instead of 11 to 15, what I would do is that I would ask for a plea to 1 to 10 over the limit, which would be 3 points instead of 4. Same forfeiture of $98.80.
Thank you.
That's $30 plus costs, and $30 plus that's actually the minimum on a speeding citation. $30 to $300 is the range. You're actually at the minimum forfeiture already. I just want to make sure that you're aware of the forfeiture range as well. I can go up, I can go down. I don't think I've ever gone up before, but under certain circumstances, I will go down if I hear a reasonable or a reason for it. You have any questions regarding your speeding citation?
I do not.
Okay. Second citation is for operating a motor vehicle without proof of insurance. This citation carries a penalty of $10 issued your driver's license. Do you understand what operating a motor vehicle without proof of insurance is?
I do.
Okay. Now, I noticed that you had something in your hand. Is that proof of insurance?
It is.
All right, if you want to give that to the bailiff, I'll take a look at it.
I had my old one in the car.
Okay, so you just had to update the new one. I'll make a note for the record. This was effective January 1st, 2019, for a year. And, okay, I don't know, it's for the same vehicle. Okay, since you provided me proof of the insurance on the court's own motion, I'll go ahead and dismiss that $10 citation.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, on the speeding on the city highway, you said you didn't have any questions? Are you ready to take, I'm ready for a plea?
No contest.
Okay. You don't need to be explaining the rest of the pleas? All right. If I find, you will understand that if I find a factual basis for your no contest plea, I'll find you guilty of speeding 1 to 10 over.
Yes.
Is that a yes? Okay. Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay, I have read the police report. Do find a factual basis for your plea. Accept your no contest plea and find you guilty of speeding 1 to 10 over, which is a 3-point violation and forfeiture of $98.80. 30 days to pay will that be sufficient?
Yes.
All right, I'll make it 30 days to pay. You can either, just make sure that you make payment within 30 days, because otherwise, I don't want to have to spend your driver's license for a year or send you after collections of it.
Thank you.
Any questions for me?
So the insurance one is dropped, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I went ahead and dismissed that, so. All right, that will take care of it this evening, and thank you.
That one was rescheduled, so you might not have it, I can bring it up.
Okay, sure. George Schmelling? Say it again? Schmoing, okay. Just a minute. Schmoing, do I have your correct address on Stonecrest Road in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You received a citation for theft of movable property less than $2,500. This citation carries a penalty of $187. Do you understand what theft of movable property is?
Yes.
You don't need me to review the elements with
No,
you?
no.
Now, the forfeiture range on this is $50 to $1,000. You're at $100 plus costs. You're not at the minimum, but you're on the low end of the scale. You understand that?
Yes.
All right. In addition, I could order that restitution be ordered in your case. Do you understand what restitution is?
No, I don't.
Okay. Restitution would be the value of the item taken. Say if I went to a convenience store and sold a pack of cigarettes,
Okay.
if I got caught and I took the pack of cigarettes, I'd have to pay back the value of the pack of cigarettes, like $5. So in addition to the $187, it could be the value of the restitution as well.
Okay.
And I can order that up to $10,000. Whatever, I can't order at 10,000, but whatever the amount of restitution would be.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for me?
No.
Okay.
No.
Now's the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
I don't really understand them.
Okay.
It's been why of being here.
Okay. If you don't understand them, what I would suggest is enter a not guilty. Would you like the chance to talk with the prosecutor about this?
I'm probably busy that day. If I put guilty, what would that be?
With a guilty plea, it would be $187.
I'll pick that one.
Okay, plus whatever restitution I order as
Yes.
well. You understand that with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Yes.
All right. Let me review the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea.
Okay.
Are you sure you want to enter a guilty plea? Oh. You sure you all right. Yeah. You want to get it over with?
Yes.
All right. I just kind of saw that. Got it. Thank you. Okay, I have read the police report, I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on the sentence?
No.
Okay. I do find the $187 forfeiture to be appropriate, and I'll find you that much.
Okay.
How much time do you need to pay that?
I'll pay it when I leave from here.
Okay, I'll give you 30 days, but you can take it downstairs and then just make payment at the dispatch window. It seems that some of the items were returned. However, I'm not gonna order restitution at this time, but I want you to be aware that if somebody was deprived of the property that you took, they can have a hearing.
Okay.
We can bring you in the hearing and have a hearing to determine the value of all those items then.
Yeah,
So
okay,
that's the way I'll do it. So just be aware that you could have a hearing later on, but I'm not gonna order any restitution at this
Okay,
point.
thank you.
Okay, with no further questions, the bailiff will give you that notice and they'll take care of it this evening then. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Carl Ashbrenner? Mr. Ashbrenner, do I have your correct address in Chicago Street in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You received a citation on City Highway 1 to 10 over. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and 3 demerit points issued your driver's license. Do you understand what speeding on a City Highway 1 to 10 over is?
Yes.
All right. Understand, the forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300. You're actually at the minimum $30 plus costs. You understand that as well?
Yes.
All right. Now, I give a 10-mile leeway for speeding. You're already at 1 to 10 over. What I do when somebody gets a speeding citation for 1 to 10 over, I drop it down to what's called defective speedometer. That would be a 2-point violation and same forfeiture amount of $98.80. You understand that as well?
I do.
All right. Have any questions regarding the speeding citation?
No.
All right. Now's the time I take your plea. What is your plea to defective speedometer? Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
No contest?
Okay. You understand with no contest plea, I must find you guilty?
I do.
All right. Let me review the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. I see. Okay. I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis, accept your no contest plea and find you guilty of defective speedometer, 347-41. Do you need time to pay, sir?
I do.
Okay. 30 days, would that be sufficient?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll give you 30 days. I'll give you the notice on which to make payments, or where to send the payment in. Make sure that you pay within 30 days, because otherwise my only options are to suspend your driver's license or send you collections. I'd rather not do that.
Understood.
All right. Any questions for me?
No, sir.
I'll have the bailiff give you that notice, and I'll take care of it this evening. Thank you. Donald Tickener?
Yes, sir.
Did I say that correctly?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, let me pull up your file. Mr. Tickener, do I have your correct address on Page Street in Stoughton?
You do.
All right, you received a citation for speeding on a city highway, 2024 over. That citation carries a penalty of 6 points and a forfeiture of $149.20. Do you understand what speeding on a city highway, 2024 over is?
Yeah, wrong, and it doesn't paint the full picture, but that is what he got me passing the guy for.
Okay. This is a 6-point violation, and also you're at, the forfeiture range on these speeding citations are $30 to $300. You're actually at $70 plus cost due to the increased speed. You probably heard some that were only receiving $30 plus cost. Because the speed involved is a little higher, that's why the forfeiture's a little higher as well.
I'm shocked at my car that can accelerate that quickly, but live and learn.
Excuse me. I do give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway, so instead of 20 to 24 over, I would amend this citation to 11 to 19 over. That would be 4 points instead of 6, same forfeiture, $149.20. And the reason why I do that is that if you were to see the prosecutor, they would make the same offer. This is done for expedient matters as well. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for me?
No, not really.
Okay. Now's the time I take your plea. To the amended citation of 11 to 19 over the limit. Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
It's guilty.
Okay. You understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Yes.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay, I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis for your guilty plea. Accept your guilty plea and find you guilty of 11 to 19 over the limits, 4 points. I do find the forfeiture of $149.20 to be appropriate. How much time do you need to pay that?
I'd like to get it behind me today.
Okay, I'll give you a notice. I'll give you 30 days, but you can take that down to the dispatch window and then make payment. Now, before you started talking about other circumstances, I already found you guilty. I can't hear anything about the facts of the case until you've been found guilty now. If you want to tell me anything else, now would be the time.
Oh, I live on Page Street, and I see these speeders going up and down it at incredible speeds, and I'm not a speeder. If you look at my history, I've got one ticket 40 years ago, I think. And, yeah, so I pulled around the car, and it was much faster than I thought it was, and he must have been right there and said that's what it was, so I guess that's what it is.
Okay. I understand that people have good speeding records, and that's why I give a leeway for this. A lot of times there's circumstances, and it seems that I understand where people are coming from. That's why anybody that shows up, I usually give a 10-mile leeway to. So.
Well, I'm sure it's appreciated.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Is that into the police? Thank you.
Diane Darnitzer? Darnitzer, thank you. I'm not doing too well tonight. All right. Again, Darnitzer?
Yeah,
Okay. Ms. Darnitzer, do I have your correct address on Page Street in Stoughton?
yes.
All right. Received 2 citations. The first one is for operating motor vehicle while under the influence of an intoxicant. All right. The forfeiture listed on this citation is $861. Now, forfeiture range on this is $150 to $300. However, they add a $355 assessment fee, and they add also other court charges as well. It usually brings the total forfeiture between $700 and $950. You understand that? Okay. Is that a yes?
Yes.
We're recording this, so if I make a mistake and you want to appeal my decision, it helps to have a clear
Oh, I'm
record.
sorry.
No, that's okay. So for an OWI, in addition to the forfeiture, it also is 6 points assessed against your driver's license. If you're found guilty, you have to attend an alcohol and drug assessment class, and your driver's license will get revoked between 6 and 9 months. Now,
Oh, I have a meeting tomorrow in the city about that.
oh, okay,
They sent me a letter just last weekend
okay.
that it's gonna, it's about that,
Okay.
basically.
Well, let me tell you how the 6 to 9 months will be. So the 6 to 9 months will be, if you're 1.5 or lower, I revoke your license for 6 months. A 1.5 to 2 is 7 months, and above a 0.2 is 8 months. And if there's any bad driving, I usually add another month to that as well. Now, you mentioned something else. What happens a lot of times in the OWI first, well, not all the time, it happens is that you get a notice for an administrative hearing as well. And you have to respond to that within 30 days, and if you don't, you automatically get suspended
That's tomorrow.
for 90 days. This is something separate from that as well. So normally the suspension period of 6 months and my sentence run at the same time, so it's not like you have suspended one and then revoke later. They're part of the same sentence then. So that's how that works. Okay, if your blood alcohol content was a 0.15 or higher, I must order an interlock ignition device be installed and all vehicles registered in your name for a period of 12 months. Do you know what it's called an IID? You know what that is?
I've heard of them. I just had a deer run into my car when I went to see my mother, who was sick up north. And at this point, I'm being told that probably the accident was worth $4,000, my car's worth less, so I don't know if I'm gonna even get it fixed.
Okay, but regardless, if you're driving a vehicle, you have to install an interlock ignition device, be installed in all vehicles for a period of 12 months as well. And in addition, that would be a requirement for 12 months, and that's a $50 surcharge as well. No blood, okay. So those are and if I order an interlock ignition device be installed in all your vehicles, I can also order that it be installed that you have that driving requirement for 12 months. And if you're 1.5, there's the state mandates that I order that you have to have one of these devices in any car you drive for 12 months then. Nothing that is kind of beyond my control. The legislature's mandated that I do that. Okay, so those are the penalties under the operating while under the influence citation. Do you have any questions regarding that?
At this point, if it's 6.2, I mean, this is what I'm being assessed for by, I don't know, it's a state or whatever, tomorrow that I go into Madison, the DOT. And does that mean that I still can drive, but I have to have this tool on my car?
If you're 1.5 or higher.
Oh.
So, sounds like you have an administrative hearing. I mean, the prohibited alcohol concentration also has the same penalties as well. Although, you know, the $861, 6 points, AODA, 6 9-month driver's license revocation, a 1.5 or higher interlock condition device. Although I can find you guilty of both, I can only impose penalties on one citation. In other words, I don't double that, but what I listed before would be the total amount, total value that you would have. Now, it sounds like if you have an administrative hearing, you're expressing some doubts about about this citation. Would you like to enter a not guilty plea?
I'm not saying I have doubts about it, I'm just not totally understanding
Okay.
what it means for me, like, I can't drive at all, or I'm just under, I'm not sure exactly what it means.
Okay. Revoked means that you cannot operate a motor vehicle. If you're suspended, you also cannot operate a motor vehicle. The penalties for operating while you're revoked are stiffer, more severe than the ones that are operating after suspension.
So if it's revoked, it means I can't drive at all, even if I have to for work or finding a new place to live, which I have to do?
Correct. But with that, you can always apply for an occupational license for both. An occupational license means it gives you special privileges to drive to work, to church, or to school, basically. But yet, those hours are limited, and I've got information there if you ever want any information on occupational license. But we're here tonight is basically on the drunk driving case, and I want to make sure that I advise you of all the rules and regulations, so you have knowledge to enter a plea.
Okay.
Okay. And so do you have any the administrative suspension is handled through the State Department of Transportation. That's something separate from this court. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Okay. Any questions regarding your administrative suspension hearing?
I don't think so.
Okay. Any questions regarding the OWI or PAC citations as I've set forth tonight?
No.
Okay. Now's the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
No contest?
Okay. You understand with a no contest plea, I must find you guilty? Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm
All right.
sorry.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay. I have read the police report, you do find a factual basis for your plea, accept your no contest plea and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on a sentence?
I guess not.
Okay. I'll make I do find the forfeiture to be appropriate of $861. I'll make the finding that your blood alcohol content was 0.19, above the Wisconsin legal limit of 0.08 for a first offense. I'm going to order that your driver's license be revoked for 7 months based upon the blood alcohol content of being above a 1.5.
I still am a little confused about revoked. When you say revoked, that means that I can't drive at all? Or I have to get that occupation?
You have to get that occupational license.
Where do I-
Revoked means
Okay,
that if you're driving again with a revoked license, that it is a criminal, it's a criminal traffic matter.
I won't
Whereas
be doing
suspended is a civil one. What's that?
yeah, I'm not doing that, that's for
Okay.
sure.
Okay. So I'll order that 6 points will be assessed against your license. You'll also be ordered a 10 in alcohol and drug assessment class. Since you're above a 1.5, I'll order that an interlock condition device be installed and all vehicles registered in your name for a period of 1 year. And also you have a 1-year restriction for an IID. In other words, if you do drive, you have to have an IID installed as well. And there will be a $50 surcharge for that as well. Do you need time to pay?
Well, I have, my brother loaned me the 861, so I do have that right now.
Okay, I'll give you 30 days to pay, but you can make payment at the dispatch window downstairs. All right, I've got a couple documents for you to sign, so if you want to step forward. On this side, this one. I should keep that one, and I'll keep this one. Okay, I'm gonna give you some more forms in just a minute. Here's the judgment in order. You take that downstairs and make payment on that.
And this one, I just have to make sure I call them.
Correct.
Set up an appointment, is it?
Correct, that's correct.
Okay.
And then this describes the assessment, and it has that number on there again. This is the interlock condition device form.
And I take that when I see the,
Well, you'll have to complete that once you get a driver's license, or driver's license product. In other words, occupational or regular license, you'll have to complete that.
and I do that where, through this?
The Department of Transportation, usually, or actually, the IID, they'll have a list of vendors. Do we have that in here?
It's on the pink sheet.
Yeah, pink sheet is the list of vendors. Here's the questions on it.
So I have to call them separately? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. And here's information on the occupational license.
Oh, okay.
Now, I give you all. What'd you? That will take care of it. If you want to just take that, pay the forfeiture, there other information is in there. If you have any questions, just let me know. All right, thank you. Oh, thank you. Jonathan Wolpat? Mr. Mr. Wolpat, do I have your correct address on Felon Street in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You received a citation for failure to yield while making a left-hand turn. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80. Florida merit points issued your driver's license. Forfeiture on this is, forfeiture range on this is as follows. Let's see, for 18.2, $20 to $50. You're at $30 per cost. You're not at the minimum, but you're at the low end of the range. Okay. You understand what failure to yield while making a left-hand turn is?
Yes.
All right. The reason why this citation is mandatory is that if you're found guilty of this citation, the state DOT requires you to take a class, otherwise your driver's license gets suspended. I always want to make sure that people are aware of that. So,
Sure. And what was the amount that you said for the citation?
$98.80.
Okay.
Okay. 30. And it's $20 to $50 is the range. You're at $30 plus cost.
Okay.
All right. You have any questions for me?
Yeah, I guess can I explain?
No.
As far, okay.
Because I can't hear anything, because if you enter a not guilty plea, what happens is that I've already heard testimony when you're not sworn
okay.
under oath and the prosecutor's not here. So what happens is I'd have to recuse myself then. So,
Okay.
so if you have any questions regarding the procedures, but if you have any doubt regarding the citation, I can't change the citation. If you
Okay.
enter a guilty or no contest plea, you'll have to take the class, and I just want to make sure people are aware of that then.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So now's the time I take your plea. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Not guilty.
Okay. With a not guilty plea, we'll schedule the matter for a pretrial conference with the city attorney. That'll be scheduled for, what, April 3rd? April 3rd. I'll give you a notice in just a minute. I'm ordering that you attend that, so if you miss, I'll find you default and I'll find you guilty, impose that forfeiture, and then you'll have to take the class. Chance to tell your side of the story, so bring whatever witnesses or documents might help your case.
Okay.
I always advise that people take a look at the room before they leave. On the first floor, as you enter the building, through the second set of doors, there'll be a conference room on your left marked pretrial conference.
Okay.
Once you receive the notice from the bailiff, that will take care of it this evening then.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. And would it be possible for it to be at the same time, but at a different time, or who knows? Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Tyrell Collins? Mr. Collins, I have your correct address on Geeler Drive in Stoughton.
Geiler, yes.
Tyler, thank you. Not doing well with the pronunciation tonight. You were cited for speeding on a city highway 11 to 15 over the limit. That citation carries a penalty of $98 and 4 demerit points issued your driver's license. You understand what speeding on a city highway 11 to 15 is?
Yes, sir.
Forfeiture range is $30 to $300. You're at $30 plus cost. You're at the minimum forfeiture. In addition, I give a 10-mile leeway to these. So if you were to enter a no contest or guilty plea, it would be to 1 to 10 over, which would be 3 points instead of 4. Same forfeiture.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
No, thank you.
Now's the time that I take your plea. What is your plea? Guilty, no contest, or not guilty, the amended citation of 1 to 10 over the limit.
No contest.
Okay, you understand no contest plea must find you guilty? Let me review the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay, I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis. I'll accept your no contest plea and find you guilty to speeding, 1 to 10 over for 3 points, forfeiture of $98.80. How much time do you need to pay?
Just 30 days.
Okay, I'll give you 30 days. I'll give you that notice in just a minute. Once you get that notice, I'll take care of it for this evening then.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cassandra Ott? Ms. Ott, do I have your correct address on Pleasant View Drive in Stoughton?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. You received a citation for failure to keep vehicle under control. That citation carries a penalty of $136.60 and 4 demerit points issued your driver's license. Do you understand what failure to keep vehicle under control is?
Yes, I do.
All right. Now, forfeiture range on this is $40 to $300. And you're at $60 plus cost. So not at the minimum, but you're pretty close to the low end on the scale. All right, I advise you the forfeiture range and the points. Any questions for me?
Nope.
Now's the time I take your plea. Guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
No contest.
You understand, with no contest plea, I must find you guilty?
Correct, yes.
All right, let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Actually, do you have a copy of the police report? I just have the citations.
Sure, I have to get that from the police department if it's not in their,
Okay,
their
all right.
file.
I just have a copy of the citations.
So do I,
I
yeah.
could review the police report if you want, or, I mean, I could do that, but it's gonna take me a little bit of time, so.
Mm,
Um,
if you wouldn't mind, I'd appreciate it.
Okay,
Just, yeah, to get your input, because I haven't read it yet either.
Yeah, it's not in the R drive. Do you have the name?
It was a
Well, we'll do-
sheriff, I don't know if that makes a
What's that?
difference. It was a sheriff, I don't know if that
I
makes a
know, it's
difference.
the town of Dunkirk citation,
Oh,
so.
then never mind.
What's that?
It should, you should have it in there. Are there two?
There's-
per-
Yeah, but it's the same thing.
Then let me check a little further, sorry.
That's
Just
okay,
a couple
no
minutes
worries.
here. Wow. There's a full moon tonight. They took my email off of this. I don't know what to say. It would be in my email. I can go to my office and look for it, or if,
Okay, why don't you, well, we're gonna, if you wanna
Come
pass,
back to
yeah,
it? Yeah,
we'll
that's
pass,
okay.
we'll
Okay.
take a look at it.
so you do want.
Well, let me get
Okay.
through the rest, and
Okay.
then we'll
All right.
take a
Okay.
look at it. All right, thanks. Let's see, that was Cassandra Oz. Devin Gilbertson? I don't have this one either.
What's going on here tonight? And that's Stoughton. That's the police, all I can do is take what they give me. Brandon, do you have that one? It's not in the file from her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I'm sorry, if you want to have a seat, we'll make sure we get that, so I can advise you your rights. Okay. Derek Campbell? Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Campbell, do I have your correct address on Main Street in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You've received 4 citations. The first one is for operating after suspension. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 3 demerit points issued your driver's license. Do you understand what operating after suspension is?
Yes.
Is that a yes? Okay. Forfeiture range on this. Is $50 to $200. So you're actually at $50 plus cost as it stands right now. Okay.
Okay.
Next citation is operating motor vehicle without proof of insurance. This citation carries a penalty of $10 as well. Forfeiture on this is always $10. Do you have any questions regarding operating motor vehicle without proof of insurance?
It wasn't my car.
Okay.
I didn't know if they had insurance.
All right. And then your other citations. You received the third citation for operating after suspension. This citation also carries a penalty of $124 and 3 demerit points. And you have a second citation for operating motor vehicle without proof of insurance as well for $10. It's not your car? Are you
Cars.
What's that?
I fix cars.
Okay, okay. So are you contesting all these citations? Okay, I'll enter a not guilty plea. So we'll
Okay.
schedule this matter for a pretrial conference. Not guilty plea will be scheduled for April 3rd. Make sure that you, on the April 3rd, make sure that I'm ordering that you appear, because if you don't appear, I'll find you in default and I'll find you guilty. When you meet on the April 3rd, have you a chance to meet with the prosecutor? Are you going to be here on April?
Yes, I will.
The prosecutor's seated to your right. A chance to tell whatever side of the story, your side of the story, so bring whatever witnesses or documents might help your case as well.
The cops,
Okay?
the police.
Well, I mean, I'll leave it up to you. I don't, yeah, so. And then I always advise people, the location of the pretrial conference is first floor through the second set of doors. There'll be a room on your left marked pretrial conference.
Okay,
Okay. Any questions for me?
no.
All right, here's the notice. It's on April 3rd at 4 PM. There are 4 citations. All right, thank you. Okay. No, let's see.
I don't know that couple, if they came late, I don't have their name.
Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go get it, but I'm just saying this couple here, I don't know if they're here for
Okay.
an initial appearance before I leave.
Okay, sure. If you two, if you want to step forward. Yeah, you two, yes. Okay, are you here for an initial appearance tonight? Okay, okay. Well, we're gonna do, we need to get a few more records. We've got a few 5 o'clock still. So the court's gonna go into recess for a few minutes to make sure we can get those reports in. So, all right, court's in recess for about 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, thanks. Okay, the court will return from recess. Recall the case of City of Stoughton versus Devin Gilbertson. Okay, Ms. Gilbertson, do I have your correct address at 1234 Oakwood Court in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You received 2 citations. The first one was for a vehicle operator failing to wear a seatbelt. Just a minute. Forfeiture range on this is, it's under 347.48. forfeiture range on this, there is actually a $10 forfeiture. You understand that? Is that yes?
Yes.
Okay, we're being recorded, so make sure that you answer my questions. That way we can establish a clear record. Second citation is for possession of THC. That citation carries a penalty of $439. Forfeiture range on this is $50 plus costs. $439 is $300 plus costs. However, on the THC, and you understand what possession of THC is? Okay, you understand THC is the active ingredient in marijuana?
Yes.
Okay. If you attend an alcohol and drug assessment or alcohol drug counseling, and I've got a suggested list if you want to pursue that route, I reduce the forfeiture from $439 to $124. The idea being I want to make sure that people attend alcohol counseling or an alcohol assessment, alcohol and drug assessment. Do you understand that as well?
Even if I wasn't like under the influence when they pulled me over?
Well, possession means if you had it on you.
Okay.
That's the element. Not that if you were under the influence of THC, you would be facing an additional citation.
Okay.
You'd be actually operating a motor vehicle with a restricted controlled substance.
Okay.
You understand the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes? Okay. All right. So you understand the failure to wear a seatbelt. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you understand THC. Any questions for the court?
No.
Okay. Now is the time I take your plea. What is your plea to the possession of THC and failure to wear a seatbelt? Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
No contest.
Okay. You understand with no contest plea, I must find you guilty?
Yes.
All right. Let me review the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay, I have reviewed the police report. I do find a factual basis for plea. I'll accept your no contest plea and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on the sentence?
No.
Okay. I do find the forfeiture to be appropriate for the $10 for the seatbelt and the for marijuana. I'll fine you $439. However, I will stay that for 90 days. In other words, I'm going to call a timeout. And if you complete an assessment or counseling for drug and other alcohol and other drugs, what I will do then is I will then reduce the forfeiture to $124. So I'll give you a suggested list on ways that you can complete the counseling or the assessment. You understand that?
Okay. And then
So-
is there something somewhere I have to like turn that in or?
Yes. Yeah, there will be. Make sure that when you complete that you send the completion form to our attention, and I'll give you an address on those forms.
Okay.
Make sure that you, because if you complete it but we don't receive it, we don't know if you completed it or not. So, and I'll give you 90 days to do that. If for whatever reason you run into trouble within the 90 days, there's a number that you can call on the forms are going to give you. Call that number and schedule a hearing in front of me, and then I'll hear why you need more time or what the holdup is.
Is the paying it then held until the 90 days
Correct.
also?
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't have to pay anything until you complete that assessment then.
Okay.
So holding it open for 90 days essentially.
Thank you.
All right. With that will take care of it this evening.
It's there, you just have to page down a little. There's two reports. One is the citation and the other is the police report.
Okay. Who is this for?
Ott, A-O-T-T.
Okay, thank you. Oh, you're right. Thank you. Oh, okay.
Second, the other one is the police report.
All right. Thank you. At this time, we'll recall the case of Cassandra Ott. Thank you. It actually was here all along. I apologize for making you delay.
That's okay. No worries.
You want to come here for a second?
What was that?
You want to come here for a second? This is just the vehicle registration.
If you go down further, that's all the town of Dunkirk gives us. They don't do a write-up on those. Everything should be on either the citation or this report. They don't. It's all they've ever given us.
Okay, but I don't get, there's no explanation.
I think the officer is here. But
Yeah, he came and met us afterwards.
Okay.
Like I had gone off the road and hit a sign,
Okay, so.
and then I knew I had to report it, obviously, since I had knocked over the sign,
Okay.
so he came to meet
That's all
me
he sends to
afterwards.
me.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why the report was never generated. Okay.
Yes,
So I have
exactly.
reviewed the citation and I listened to your explanation and so, okay. There's sufficient evidence for me to enter a no contest plea and then find you guilty. Anything you like to say before I sign a sentence? Okay. I don't know the severity of this.
It
940
was
what's that?
it was pretty snowy. I mean, the roads weren't plowed, and then right as we were pulling away, a plow came up behind us. So yeah, it was
Okay,
pretty poor unfortunate timing.
okay. The minimum forfeiture for this citation is $40 plus cost. I'm gonna drop the forfeiture down from $136.60 to $111.40.
I would really appreciate that. Thank
Okay.
you.
How much time do you need to pay?
I can pay it today.
Okay. I'll give you the form. I'll give you 30 days in case whatever happens then, but if you want to take that downstairs,
Wonderful, thank
you
you.
can take that then. So, once the bailiff gives you that notice, that will take care of it this evening. Thank you for waiting, so. Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna send that to you. There's just problems with this citation as far as the software that we have here, so I'll mail that to you. All right, I'll get that in the mail to you tomorrow. You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, if you want to just contact us, we always are looking for additional AODAs, and so, all right, thank you.
Terrell, Christopher.
Christopher Terrell? Okay.
Yes.
Christopher Terrell? Okay. All right, you're here for an IID exemption?
Yes, because I had called the DMV to get all the information I needed, and they told me that I had several vehicles under my name. I only own one vehicle at this point in time, so they sent me a list of the vehicles that were previously in my name that never got switched over when I junked the vehicles.
Oh, okay.
And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are on here that I no longer own that I've disposed of to a junkyard. They
Okay,
never
which
reported.
junkyard did you dispose those to?
I know at least 4 of them went to Crabtrees in South Beloit, Illinois, and the other 2 I don't remember.
Okay, do you want to show that to the prosecutor, Cedar DeRay?
So this is the only one that I own
Currently, okay.
and the rest of these are all in there.
Yeah.
That one, I'm not sure what happened to, and, oh wait, no, I know what happened to this one. This one is at, so these 3 and this one are at Crabtrees. This one went to,
One of these two.
I forget the name of it, but I know which one it is.
Okay, it's a place.
Yeah.
That junks vehicles. Okay,
That's
yeah.
all we think.
Yeah, there's a list of VIN numbers, Your Honor, and the 1990 Chevy is what he circled as the only one that he owns
Yeah.
currently.
I think he did, so.
That's all right.
Okay, if you want to give that to the bailiff, I'll take a look at it then.
If we could keep that, because I can't give him the form that was.
Is this for us to keep?
Or
we
I
can-
can always get another copy from the DMV.
Okay, or we can make a copy and send it to you. You're in Beloit?
Yes.
Okay, so the one that's circled, the Chevrolet?
Yes.
That's the one that you currently drive?
Oh, no, I haven't driven it since my license got suspended. I'm actually currently trying to fix it so it can be drivable again, so I can get the IID.
Which car do you drive?
I drive the 1990 Chevy.
Yeah, that's the one I had just asked you
Oh,
about.
yeah, I don't drive it because I don't have a license right now.
Okay. Okay, so the 96, and then you're basically in a, well, actually, why don't you raise your right hand, and repeat after me. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what you're telling me tonight, you're giving me a sheet, is that correct?
Yes.
The 1996 Saturn, you have junked that vehicle.
Yes, I had gotten into an accident and the frame was bent to where it wasn't able to be fixed.
Okay, and then tell me about the 1998 Saturn.
The 98 Saturn, the engine blew up, and it blew up after I went to jail. So my uncle brought me the title, I signed it, and he junked it.
Okay, so those 2 Saturns are no longer in your possession.
No.
Okay, and then tell me about the 1994 Dodge.
The 94 Dodge, the radiator blew on it, so it caused a lot of damage to the head and warped the head, so I junked that one as well.
Okay, are you a mechanic?
No.
But you know, it seems like
I know enough to know when something's fixable and it's not.
Okay, so you own a number of, you are proficient in the operation of vehicles and then how they run?
Yes.
Okay. And then the 1991 Chevrolet?
I let my ex-wife use it, and she blew the tranny on it.
Okay, so that's no longer in operation?
No.
And that's been junked as well?
Yes.
All right. The 1992 Oldsmobile?
The 92 Oldsmobile, that one, I don't remember what happened with that one. That was probably the first vehicle on that list that I owned. So I don't remember, but I do remember junking it. I don't
Okay.
remember what happened and why I junked it.
So you no longer have possession of that one
No.
either? All right. Then the 1992 Chevrolet?
The 92 Chevrolet, that would have been, the axle snapped on that one.
Okay, so that one has been junked as well?
Yes.
And you're no longer in possession of that car?
No, sir.
All right. City's position?
No objection.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to tell me?
No, sir.
All right. So I'm going to make the findings that the 1990 Chevrolet, the one that you're currently fixing, if you ever do fix it, that you will have to install an interlock ignition device on
sir.
that car. I'll also make the findings that the 96 Saturn, the 98 Saturn, the 94 Dodge, the 91 Chevrolet, the 92 Oldsmobile, and 92 Chevrolet that you have junked or are no longer in possession. None of them might not even be operating, but they're no longer in your possession, and an IID for these vehicles is not needed. I'll go ahead and make that order. We'll send that to the DOT. We're going to keep this so we have the VIN numbers and the vehicles, and then we'll just send you any copies we'll send this back to you as a copy in any order that I make then.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right, anything else? All right, thank you, that'll take care of it for this evening. And everybody else here for the trials? All right. Okay. One defendant for two trials. First, we'll call the case of City of Stoughton versus Scotty Williams.
Your Honor, the attorney for Pleasant Springs had requested that her case proceed first. She
Oh,
has a prior
certainly.
engagement, and I have no objection to that.
Okay, thank you. So we will postpone the City of Stoughton versus Scotty Williams. We'll call the case of Town of Pleasant Springs versus Scotty Williams. Okay, please state your appearances.
Attorney Blaine Steinkraus on behalf of the town of Pleasant Springs.
And you are Scotty Williams?
Yes,
What's your address, sir?
2003 Fritch Road, Madison, Wisconsin.
And Mr. Williams, we're here for a trial tonight. Is that your understanding?
I understand that was the only way that my, I guess, disposition will be heard.
Okay. Okay. Do you understand how a trial works, sir?
Pretty much.
Okay, let me explain it to you then, so, and I'm sorry, I was, too many things to keep driving. It was attorney?
Oh, here, I'll give you my card.
Thank you. That would help. Thank you. Okay. So Attorney Steincross represents the town of Pleasant Springs. The town of Pleasant Springs has the burden of clear, satisfactory, and convincing evidence that you were, that you were operating a motor vehicle while revoked and operating a motor vehicle without insurance then. So you understand that, in other words, that they have that burden to prove to me that you violated those citations to that degree of clear, satisfactory, and convincing evidence. Okay.
Yes.
Now, the way the trial will work as follows. I will ask both parties for an opening statement. Now, in an opening statement, you do not have to give one of them, but if you would like to, it just summarizes the case. The town will go first, and then you will go second if you would like. Now, after opening statements, then the next step of the proceeding will be that we take evidence, and that usually is by way of testimony. Now, Ms. Steincross will call the first witnesses because she has the burden of proof, and then she will conduct a direct examination on the witnesses. You'll have an opportunity to cross-examine the officers. cross-examine the witnesses, I should say. Now, the cross-examination means that you get to ask your questions of your own as well. Now, if any questions will come up, then Ms. Steincross can then have what's called a redirect and recross until we've had sufficient opportunity to answer questions. After Ms. Steincross is done hearing her presentation of the case, then it will be your turn. You can present any witnesses, you can present no witnesses. It depends on totally up to you. I notice that you're not represented at this point. Is that correct?
True.
Okay. And at that point, and then I will then hear closing arguments. Ms. Steincross goes first because she has the burden. You have the opportunity for rebuttal, and then Ms. Steincross has the opportunity to sum at the end. Because she has the burden, she gets the last word, so to speak. Okay. Any questions regarding the trial procedures?
No.
All right. Ms. Steincross, would you like to make an opening statement?
Sure. The citations currently against the defendant are for operating while revoked and operating a motor vehicle without insurance. These citations were issued on August 30th of 2018, and it is the town's position that we will present sufficient evidence to prove that the defendant violated these statutes.
Okay. Mr. Williams, would you like to make an opening statement?
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous.
That's okay.
First time I ever
Take
went
your
to
time.
trial.
Take your time, and then gather yourself if you need be.
But I guess I'm here to prove that either for the lack of knowledge of the law as I once was, and something that I've looked into and found shows that first of all that I wasn't an operator or either driving down the highway. Now, for what I'm understanding, it seems that it's more than one terms where people tend to not want to understand or care to give a second glance at, and I will hope I'll be able to prove my case right.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to answer?
No.
All right. Ms. Steincross, you can call your first witness.
All right, I'll call Deputy Trent Schaefer of the Dane County Sheriff's Department.
Deputy, you want to step over here? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please be seated and state and spell your name.
Name is Deputy Trent Schaefer, Trent. Last name's Schafer.
You may question the witness.
And what is your current occupation?
I'm a deputy sheriff for the Dane County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. How long have you been employed by the Dane County Sheriff's Office?
15 years.
Okay. Can you briefly describe your law enforcement training and experience?
Yeah, I got a college degree in criminal justice. Then I went through the full law enforcement academy, numerous trainings. Every 4 times a year we train as a department. I'm currently a field training officer, an instructor for standardized field sobriety, among other things.
Okay. Were you on duty on August 30th of 2018?
I was.
Okay. What hours were you working that day?
I was working day shift hours.
Does that include approximately at 1:49 p.m.?
It does.
Okay. And where were you located at that time?
On County Highway N.
What was your nature of your assignment at that time?
I was working in the town of Pleasant Springs.
Okay. And on the afternoon of August 30th of 2018 and approximately 1:49 p.m., did you observe any vehicles out of the ordinary on the driveway or on the roadway?
Yes, I observed a vehicle that went past my squad. I ran the plate of that vehicle and learned that the lone registered owner was revoked from driving.
Okay. Do you recall the name of the individual that was revoked in driving that vehicle?
Scotty J. Williams.
Okay. Do you see him in the courtroom here today?
I do.
All right, can you please point to him?
He's straight to my right, looks like a gray or blue shirt.
Okay. So once you ran the plates on that vehicle,
Any objection to that identification?
No.
Okay. Let the record reflect that the witness identified the defendant. Sorry, you may proceed.
Okay, so then once you ran the plates on that vehicle, what did you proceed to do after you learned that the license was revoked?
I turned my squad around and followed the vehicle and activated my lights to stop it.
Okay. Did the vehicle pull over at that point?
Yes.
Okay. So then what did you do after the vehicle pulled over? Did you approach the vehicle?
Yeah, I approached the vehicle and identified the driver with his Wisconsin identification card.
Okay. Does he have a driver's license? Did he present a driver's license to you?
No, it was like an ID card.
Okay. Did you ask him if he had a driver's license?
Yes, and he stated he did not.
Well, he didn't have one. Okay. Did you ask the defendant to present proof of insurance to you at that time?
Yes, he said he did not have insurance.
Okay. And then if I may, I want to enter into evidence a certified copy of the defendant's driving record, which...
Show it, if you could show it to the defendant, have him take a look at it, and then...
So is it just Wisconsin?
Correct. Here's a copy for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll mark this exhibit as Exhibit A.
Okay. And then after the defendant informed you that he did not have insurance, what did you do at that point?
I issued him citations for being revoked and having no motor vehicle insurance.
Okay. Was that the end of your contact with the defendant?
No, he was seemed argumentative, said that basically due to the Constitution, he was driving to work and he didn't need a license.
Okay. But when you ran his plates and looked him up on the computer system in your squad vehicle, it showed that his license was revoked on August 30th of 2018, correct?
Correct.
Okay. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay. You gave me Exhibit A. Would you like that admitted into the record?
Yes, please.
Okay. Any objections to the court receiving Exhibit A?
No.
Okay. Court, Exhibit A has been received. Okay. Mr. Williams, now is the time, your chance to ask any questions of this officer.
Officer, what's your name again?
Schaefer, Deputy Schaefer.
Deputy Schaefer. You said 15 years you've been in law enforcement?
That's correct.
And you said multiple years for college classes that you went to for law enforcement as well. You was also an instructor for some odd years also. And I'm pretty sure that in those years of school and taking classes for instructing other people, you had to learn different laws and be able to translate that over to a lesson aspect of it to new officers in training. You said you was a trainer, right?
Yes, I translate the current laws to the people I train, yes.
Okay. When you were sworn in, was you sworn in under the Constitution?
I was sworn in by the sheriff under the oath of the sheriff's office.
That doesn't have anything to do with the Constitution, I'm guessing, the way you answered, rather?
I guess I don't know what the Constitution has to do with me getting sworn in.
Okay, what I'm asking is where you are, I guess, sworn in to uphold the Constitution, the laws of the Constitution, and,
Yeah, to
and
uphold
other laws.
To uphold, yes.
So, I guess the argument that I have in...
Well, now's the time for questioning. You just answer questions of this. You make the arguments to me at the end of the case.
Oh, okay. Well, one of the questions that I have, you said when you pulled up on me, I identified, or I was argumentative about me driving to work, where I pretty sure I used the word traveling. I said I was a traveler, not a driver, and I tried to explain the difference between the two. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yes, you said that you were traveling, but you were in the driver's seat driving a vehicle on a county highway.
Okay. Do you know the definition of the word traveler and the word driver?
I know definitely the definition of driver, yes.
And, okay, can you give me the definition of the word driver?
Someone who's operating a motor vehicle.
That's part of it, but
Yeah.
it's not the full definition of the word driver. Actually, in the black laws.
Your Honor, I object to this line of questioning for relevancy.
This seems argumentative to me, Mr. Williams. You can make that argument to me. If you want to just ask, right now, we're just doing a questioning of the officer then. If you want to make argument, this is just a witness, you make the arguments to me at the end.
The question is, do you not know the full definition of the word driver, or you only know that bit and piece of what?
I object, Your Honor. What definition of driver is he referring to?
Overruled. I'll allow it.
I know what a driver is. It's a person who's in control of a motor vehicle on a roadway. That's what the definition of a driver is. You can't drive from the back seat. You got to be in the driver's seat. That's what a driver is. Someone who's operating a motor vehicle.
Okay. So you said you don't know the definitions the definition of a traveler as well, as far as the law definition of a traveler?
I don't know what a traveler is. My definition of a traveler is somebody who's traveling.
And how many years you said you had to go to school for law enforcement?
Numerous years of college.
In the numerous years of college, you never had to know the meaning of the law that you are upholding, basically.
That's not true.
I'm asking a question.
You asked a question, he answered it. Next question, please.
Okay. When you put up on my automobile, did you ask me, was I driving or was I traveling?
No, because you were the only one in the car, so you were driving the vehicle on a motorway, on a roadway.
Okay. Did it look like I had an automobile full of goods to sell, or was it empty, or?
Your car didn't have very much stuff in it, but again, you were the only one in there.
And you yourself said that I was using my automobile to come from home to go to work.
It appeared you were going to work, yes.
Because I actually said that my job was literally across the street. I pointed at it.
I remember that.
Okay. Is there any difference between an automobile and a vehicle?
No.
Did you know there may be more than one definition between the two, or distinct differentials between the two?
There may be, but you were in a vehicle.
if there may be, did you give a second thought to figuring out if I was, or maybe you just assumed that I was in a vehicle?
I object, Your Honor, to this line of questioning.
I don't see a basis for objection, although the question you may answer.
What was your question?
I said, did you assume that I was in a vehicle, or if you said that you might have, or maybe a difference between the two, automobile and vehicle, did you give me a chance to explain to you the difference?
I listened to you talk for a little bit, but again, you were in a motor vehicle operating on a highway, and you're listed as revoked, so that's why I stopped you.
Did you also know that motor vehicle is a vehicle that's on a highway for public gain or business?
I don't know, could be.
Did you know that automobiles are used for pleasure, everyday traveling from one place to the other?
Was one of the numerous reasons they're used.
And if that's what an automobile is used for one thing and a motor vehicle is used for another, there's also a distinct difference between the two. So if I was using my motor vehicle or my automobile to go from home to work, why would you say my automobile was a motor vehicle when it's a difference between two?
I don't even know how to answer that question. You were operating a motor vehicle on a roadway. That's all I can say. And you were listed as revoked. You can't drive when you're revoked. That's why I stopped you.
In my Wisconsin, I guess we call this a rap sheet or record for
It's a certified driver's record of your job.
Exhibit A is a certified driving record from the state of Wisconsin.
I never once had a driver's license because I never once operated a motor vehicle. So why did you assume that I was operating a motor vehicle the day of question?
Well, you were operating one because I stopped you in it. And you were listed as revoked. That's why I stopped you.
You said that in your 15 years of law enforcement, you have been trained to uphold the law to the letter, right?
That's right.
Where in the date of question was my right to travel freely without being molested?
You were never molested. You were stopped and issued 2 citations.
I was stopped and issued 2 citations for driving or traveling.
You were operating a motor
I'm going to
vehicle.
stop you here. If you want to explain to the court, what's the difference between driving and traveling?
And that's what I was trying to do, sir, because by Black Law's dictionary, there's a distinct difference in between the two.
Can you show that to me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Why don't you show it to the prosecutor, and then I'll take a look at it. That will at least help for my reference, because I don't know of any legal distinction between driving or operating and traveling.
Your Honor, there's some court law on point on this issue.
Okay.
The definition between driver, the definition between traveler.
So you copied and pasted that? Or is that
I went
actual?
downtown to Dane County Law Library.
Here, why don't you explain that to me? So this is what?
Records from downtown law library from Black Laws.
Okay. Okay. And you had an opportunity to review this a bit?
No.
Okay. You do need to see this again?
No, I don't. Thank
Okay.
you.
All
Sorry.
right, thank you. All right, please proceed.
So, sir, can I also submit the difference between vehicle and automobile?
Certainly. Why don't you show it to the prosecutor first, and I'll take a look at it. Yes, why don't we mark these as exhibits?
And this is again from where?
Downtown Law Library. Would that be?
No, I mean, is this case law from New
Although-
Hampshire and this is case law from a different state?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, so this isn't Wisconsin case law. Is that Wisconsin case law or what is that? Sorry, that was a dictionary, he said. Okay, so Alabama and,
Okay. So I'm going to mark, you gave me the travel. I'm going to mark that as Exhibit B. And then I think you gave me the definition page. I'm going to mark that as Exhibit C. And then I'm going to mark the one for the page for driver as Exhibit D. Mr. Williams, I marked these as Exhibit B, C, and D. So you've given me the definitions of travel, and the definitions of automobile and motor vehicle, and the definitions of driver. That's what you wanted to give me, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in these documents, travel is defined by the American jurisprudence, and it says Bouvier, Law Dictionary and Century Dictionary. And then the automobile and motor vehicle, you've cited, let's see, it looks like an Atlantic case out of New Hampshire, and then a case for International Motor Transit versus Seattle. And you also give me a case for City of Dayton out of Ohio, correct?
Yes.
All right. And then you gave a definition of driver from Bouvier's Law Dictionary and a definition for operator. It looks like it's 60 Southeast 2D 658. That's what you're giving me, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'll note for the record that 60 SE South SD, I don't know what jurisdiction that is, but when Wisconsin is reported, it's under the Northwest Reporter, and this is the Southeast Reporter. So what you've given me, I'm going to make the finding that, so you want these exhibits B, C, and D admitted into evidence?
Yes.
Okay. Any objections?
No. I mean, relevancy, I don't know what that has to do with Wisconsin case law or Wisconsin
Okay.
statutes or case law.
Right. They go to the weight of the evidence and not necessarily the admissibility. I will admit B and C and D into the record. Other jurisdictions can have persuasive authority, but I don't necessarily have to follow out-of-court jurisdictions, or out-of-state jurisdictions. You understand that?
I understand.
Okay.
I was just using them for definition purposes.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna ask the question. Officer, are you aware of any definition of traveler from out of Wisconsin jurisdictions?
No.
All right. That's probably the questions that you were getting at, so. Okay. Do you have any other questions for this witness?
No.
Okay. Anything on redirect?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Schaefer, you're excused. Any other witnesses?
Nope.
All right. That will close the prosecutor's portion of the case. Mr. Williams, would you like to call any witnesses? Mr. Williams, would you like to call any
I was
witnesses?
thinking,
Oh, I'm sorry.
is
You can call yourself, or do you have anybody else here on your behalf?
no.
You can testify on your own behalf if you wish.
Yes, I would then.
Okay. Please raise your hand and repeat after me. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please be seated. State and spell your name for the record.
Scotty J. Williams, SCOTTIE J Jaye Williams, Williams.
Okay. Now, Mr. Williams, before we did a question and answer session, but since you're here on your own behalf, it would be awkward to kind of question yourself. So we will have what's called a narrative testimony. Well, and you can tell me in a narrative standing what exactly you would want me to hear.
Okay. For years, I never had a job where, where I was driving like a semi truck or a passenger bus or a taxi cab or any vehicle where I was getting monetary value from it or compensation. Anytime I got in my automobile, it was either for pleasure or to go to work or to the gas station, the grocery store, take my kids to the park. I never contracted with the state of Wisconsin for a driver's license because, from what I understand, a driver's license is used for anyone that's using the roadway for business. And it seems like the more I dig, the more laws I read, the Fourth Amendment that everybody's were the Constitution where these amendments were given, and I have the freedom of movement. It doesn't say I only have movement by walking. I have the freedom of movement. When the Constitution was written, they didn't know what the future had, what type of vehicles or planes. We didn't have planes back then. It was written to the best knowledge that they had at that time, and at that time they wanted all citizens to have their right to travel where they wanted, not be restricted to one state or one town, city, or whatever. And somewhere down the line, traveling seemed to be mixed up or forgotten, and your right to move from one place to another was turned into a privilege. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand that a driver's license should be issued to people who drive 18-wheeler trucks because they're dangerous, city buses because they hold a lot of people's lives in their hand. Of course, they should be insured because the business that they got them out there doing these jobs should be held accountable for any accidents that they have. I understand that. But when it comes down to the ordinary person who jumps into their automobile and everybody thinks when they put the key in the ignition and they turn it and they put their automobile into gear that they're driving. It's a difference between driving and traveling. People that drive have to take classes to operate whatever vehicle that they're using. It's the difference between me jumping in my automobile and going to the gas station to get a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk to come back home and feed my kids. And by the definitions that each word is written and given to me, it shows every time I caught any infraction, I was a traveler, not a driver, because I wasn't getting any monetary value for my moving on the highway. So, if what happens today is just a learning experience, that's all I can take it as, because I'm always told that if you don't, I guess, use your rights and just give them away, they're gone, And if I have the right to travel, and the word is travel, it is not driving, I should be able to travel. So, I mean, I guess that's all I want to say.
Cross?
No, I just have rebuttal argument to what he's saying.
Okay. All right. Mr. Williams, you may sit down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Williams, do you have any other witnesses?
No.
Okay. Attorney Steincross, do you have any other witnesses?
No.
On rebuttal?
Or,
Okay.
yeah, well, no, just my closing.
Okay, sure. We will close the evidence portion of the case then. So we'll proceed to closing arguments. Attorney Steincross.
Okay. The town of Pleasant Springs would like to begin by addressing the defendant's arguments and distinction between travel versus operating a motor vehicle. There is Wisconsin case law directly on point addressing his distinction and clarifying that the right to travel, as he is referencing, is a constitutional right, but it's a privilege to hold a driver's license in the state of Wisconsin, and that the state and municipalities herein have the right to regulate individuals' ability to operate a motor vehicle. That's County of Fond du Lac versus Dirksen, 2002. That's the case.
Can you cite the case for me?
Yeah, it's 256 West 2D 490, and then 647 NW 2D 922.
Thank you.
Yep. And then within that same case, the Court of Appeals states that the state's ability to impose licensing requirements on motor vehicle users is not limited to individuals that are engaged in interstate commerce or operating commercial vehicles. Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So the citations that we're here for today are operating while revoked, operating a motor vehicle without insurance. The first one is in violation of Wisconsin statutes 343.44 sub B or sub 1 sub B adopted by Town of Pleasant Springs Ordinance 177. The second violation is operating a motor vehicle without insurance in violation of Wisconsin statutes section 344.62 sub 1 adopted by Town Ordinance 177. The Town of Pleasant Springs believes that the evidence has shown that the defendant was operating a motor vehicle on August 30th of 2018 on a public highway. His license was revoked prior to and on August 30th of 2018. The defendant was operating a motor vehicle without insurance on August 30th of 2018. And the state has established that with clear and satisfactory evidence.
The town.
I'm sorry, the town. Yeah.
Mr. Williams, what would you like to tell me in closing argument?
In my closing arguments, I guess I would say that the state has, by definition, gave you a unclear distinction between the two and not proven that I was on the highway at any given time for commerce. Also, she stated that, yes, I do have the constitutional right to travel. She limited traveling to a privilege and called it driving. She herself has looked at my Wisconsin DMV sheet, and clearly it shows that I never had a driver's license a day in my life because I always used the highways safely for traveling, like a traveler in their automobile are lawfully able to do. She clearly stated that any business or driver should have a license, where I did not disagree with her. but she failed to give any notice to the definition of traveler by constitutional laws. That's it.
Okay. All right. Okay, I've heard the evidence. Make my decision now. I've received exhibits A, B, C, and D into the record. Court will make the following determinations. Court found Deputy Schaefer to be credible. The defendant was identified. County N, identified as a highway within the state of Wisconsin, also located within Pleasant Springs. Court will make the finding that that Mr. Williams was driving the vehicle. All the elements have been met of the statute 343-44. Mr. Williams, you were driving. I'll make the finding that you were driving the vehicle. That you were driving the vehicle on a revoked license, and I have the evidence of the revoked license under Exhibit A. And I'll find that the town of Pleasant Springs has met their burden for that citation. Also find the town of Pleasant Springs has met their burden and proven all elements in the state statute 344-62 because you didn't have any insurance. I'll find that the town has met their burden of has satisfied all the elements in the offenses, identified you, identified the jurisdiction, and met all the statutory requirements under the statutes as adopted by Town of Pleasant Springs under ordinance number 177. Now, Mr. Williams, you mentioned a difference between traveling and driving. The court finds no distinction at all. I've reviewed the definitions under 340, chapter 340, not found any definitions of traveling. Now, what you've given me are various jurisdictions, one in Alabama, another was in Washington, third was in Ohio. Those are persuasive. I do not find them persuasive. I understand that you believe that you have a constitutional right to travel instead of driving. However, the Constitution does reserve the state to make their own rules and regulations, and I'll make the finding. I don't have to make the finding, but long case law and history of our state says we do have the right to regulate people's ability to drive a motor vehicle. My turn. You've had your chance. So actually, and we have another City of Stoughton case with you as a defendant. So if you want to address any further concerns, you can bring it up at that time. But I'm making my ruling at this point. I'll find that I'll deny any type of motion that you had or any. I don't find your arguments persuasive that your constitutional rights were violated for the reasons stated, and I'll find that this is already established case law under the case cited in closing arguments by the prosecutor, 256 West 2D 490, I believe it was a Fond du Lac case, City of Fond du Lac case, and I'll make the findings that your constitutional rights were not violated, that the state's within their rights to violate that, and the officer. That the officer was proper and had the authority to issue you these two citations, and I will find you guilty accordingly. Now, Mr. Williams, you have a right to appeal this case, and I'll give you the form to do that. If you do not agree with my decision, you may file either a new trial on the merits, as we can start over, or a trial on the record, and I'll give you the forms as long as you file that and pay the fees within 20 days as of this date.
Thank you.
Any questions you have for me?
Your Honor, are you asking for recommendations on penalties at all?
Yes, I will do that at this point.
Okay. So the town of Pleasant Springs would like the citation amounts for both citations, the bond amounts on the citations.
And what were those?
$313 for operating while revoked, $124 for operating a motor vehicle without insurance, and then in addition for operating while revoked, I request a 6-month suspension of his license pursuant to Wisconsin statute 343.30 sub 1G.
Okay. Mr. Williams, now will be the time for you to argue the penalties as well. What would you like me to issue as forfeitures?
I object to the 6 months. I would like the state to give me a chance to, I guess, acquire a license by a specific time frame.
Okay. How much time would that be?
2 months.
Go 60 days?
And if completed, I would like to have the driving without driver's license dropped and pay the fine for the no insurance.
Okay. I've already found you guilty of both citations. I'm not going to be, allow it to be dismissed.
Right.
At this point, before me are forfeiture amounts. The town of Pleasant Springs has requested $313 forfeiture and $124 forfeiture. Forfeiture range on the forfeiture range on the operating motor vehicle without insurance is $0 to $500. The town of Pleasant Springs is asking for $50 plus costs, which I find to be reasonable. I find that bond amount to be reasonable as well. So I'll issue a forfeiture of $124 for the insurance. As far as the operating while revoked under 343.44. Forfeiture range on that is $0 to $2,500. $313 is $200 plus costs. I also found that to be within the bond schedule and also to be reasonable. And I'll order that you pay the $313 as well. Now, the town also requested that I suspend your driver's license for 6 months under 343.30 subsection 1G. Okay, what 343.31G states.
A, sorry,
sorry,
1G
sub
A, yep.
Subject to Part C, a court may suspend a person's operating privilege for any period not exceeding 6 months upon the person's conviction of that. So it says that I may suspend. That doesn't mean I have to. Mr. Williams, you indicated that you never had a driver's license?
No.
All right. And your intention is to get it within 60 days?
Yes.
All right. I don't think that you will be able to do that. However, given the penalties for this, I think that you already have a tough road ahead of you. I'm not gonna order that his driver's license be suspended. It sounds like there's already issues with the driver's license as well. So I'll make that finding as well. Anything else from the town of Pleasant Springs?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Williams, anything else?
No.
All right. One more thing. How long would you need to pay for those forfeitures?
The total was for what?
Let me add it up. Forfeiture is $437. And again, you have a right to appeal my decision within 20 days. And we have the forms?
Put the form for all of it together, I can separate it out.
Okay. This is the town of Pleasant Springs.
I have them together, I wasn't sure how it was gonna be, I
Okay.
had to redo it. So
Okay. You gave an address before?
Yes.
We'll mail out.
I have that.
Okay. This is not the town, this is just.
He's staying, so I can redo this.
Okay, okay. So we'll give you a notice before you leave today, and we'll also send notice to you. We'll also mail it to him as well. That way you've got 20 days to appeal my decision. It's $437. How much time would you be able to pay that in?
For I guess knowledge purposes, the next case I have is basically mirroring the tickets. I'm just doubling it and trying to figure out, realistically.
How about this? I'll give you 90 days to pay for the $437 in this case.
All right.
Is that acceptable for the town of Pleasant Springs?
Yes.
Okay. Now, address fine, redress forfeiture I've made by findings. I've given the appeal rights. Anything else,
No, Your Honor.
town of Pleasant Springs? Anything else, Mr. Williams? Okay.
No.
That will conclude that case. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll create part of the record then. Court will now call City of Stoughton versus Scotty Williams. Would the parties like some time to
Just a
discuss this?
minute, yeah.
You know what, the court will take a 5-minute recess, allow the parties to confer.
So I know that you're already facing a lot of presentation files here, and that you already made all the arguments here this evening. So, if you're amenable, we could have a resolution where dismiss the insurance citation and vote citation, which in this case would be $250. So it would save less money, and it will save us the time, so we don't lose our margins. Does that sound good? Okay, great, so we'll do that then. Excellent.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Drop this
Thank
off.
you.
Okay. Be out of here in just a few minutes. That's very smart officer.
What are you talking about? Which, sorry, I'm.
And
Pleasant Springs and Dunkirk, he's
Okay.
running into the issue where he's got copies of the citation. But
yeah. And I think once he found out that the judge.
Oh, but the actual writing, yeah, he doesn't have that.
Right. He definitely is. Yeah. We'll see if he appeals.
There's another guy, Bruce William Miller is the guy from Dunkirk, so hopefully.
The court will return to the session. You may be seated. This is the City of Stoughton versus Scotty Williams. Have the parties had a chance to confer?
Yes, Your Honor. The parties have reached a resolution on this matter.
Okay, what's the resolution?
The defendant has agreed to plead no contest to the operating while revoked citation. The city would request that the court issue the $250 forfeiture amount as stated on the citation. And then the city has agreed to dismiss the operating motor vehicle without insurance citation.
Okay, so no fine on that, $250. Mr. Williams, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes,
And you agree with it?
yes.
All right. The court will adopt the resolution between the parties. So that's the resolution. The court would accept the resolution. Mr. Williams, it's my understanding you would wish to enter a no contest plea to the operating while revoked citation?
Yes.
All right. Based upon the no contest plea and the resolution of the party, the court will adopt the resolution between the parties. On the no contest plea, the court will find Mr. Williams guilty of the offense and impose a $250 forfeiture. Based upon the motion of the city, this court will dismiss the operating motor vehicle without insurance citation. And so the total forfeiture would be $250. Mr. Williams, how much time would you want the 90 days again and the $250 as well?
Maybe a little bit of extension of the 90 days.
Oh, sure. How about this? And why don't I give you 120 days? That way you'd be able to pay that. Was that something? Was that
Thank
something
you.
that's workable with you?
Thank you.
Okay, 120 days with that. And I didn't hear it mentioned, but also for the record, there'll be no driver's license suspension with this
Yes, Your Honor.
resolution as well. All right.
That's for the 3 citations.
Okay.
And I'll I'll mail the judgment.
Okay. Here's your right to appeal in the Town of Pleasant Springs case, Mr. Williams.
Three.
Well, all three of them then, too. Okay. Okay, 20 days appeal. Anything else from the city?
No, Your Honor.
In this case, at least, so in this case, okay. Anything else, Mr. Williams?
No.
All right. The reason why I said that in this case, I have to approve a number of other pretrial conferences that he did today, so. Okay, thank you for resolving it. The court will, that case is now adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Or the judgment, yes.
Detective Hill, were you able to speak to the officer? All right, thank you. Okay.
Hey, Mr. Williams.
Yeah, I'll get
My
that.
pleasure. You too.
Yeah, I'll get that.
Oh, yep, they're right up there. Thanks.
All right, are you good with me then?
Yep, all set. Thanks for coming and trying to get some